Production support for award-winning News 6 has come from the Northwest Ohio Educational Technology Foundation and this public television station.
Hi! We're the 6th grade class of USD Middle School, home of the Rams. Welcome to News 6!
Today on News 6, we'll take a close look at the unique soil of the upper Scioto Valley. We'll watch the expertise of the Hardin County Canine Corps in action, and we'll see a demonstration of an interesting martial art called Taekwondo.
Hi, I'm Lisa Cook from Upper Scioto Valley Middle School. Welcome to News 6. With this week's first story, here's Leslie Roberts.
Not too many areas of Ohio or even other states can brag that they have a unique soil. Well, the Upper Scioto Valley can and did when the News 6 team came to visit. Jake Newland talked with environmental education specialist Joyce Umbach to find out what makes the soil so unique.
The soil around Alger is very different from soil in other parts of Ohio. It's called muck, and while it's great for crops, it does present some problems.
What kind of problems do farmers have with muck?
The muck soils are very poorly drained, which means that the water stays in the soil for long periods of time. Most plants can't tolerate that kind of a wet environment. When it dries out or gets too dry, if the wind is blowing, then it starts to blow away. It is very light particles, very fine particles, and it blows very, very easily. So the erosion problems are very high. Muck storms occur when the high winds pick up the topsoil, the muck soil, off of the fields. When the soil is dry and the crops have not germinated yet and the ground is bare, that leaves it open for the wind to actually pick up tons of soil and swirl it through the air.
What steps are being taken to conserve the muck?
There are a number of different conservation practices that farmers use in the muck area. They leave residue from the previous summer's crop over the winter time, and that helps to keep the soil on the ground. There are also a number of windbreaks that have been planted, trees, actually lines of trees that block the wind as it blows so that it does not pick up the topsoil. Some farmers leave strips of cover over the winter time, either the entire field planted in like winter wheat or rye as a cover crop, or just strips in between the crops that are going to be planted for the next year. Also, when they are working the ground, very often they will plow perpendicular to the direction of the wind. If the wind generally comes out of the west, they'll plow in a north-south direction so that it doesn't actually run down the furrows of the plowed field.
This week's News 6 is being produced by Karen Riggs and Deborah Jackson 6th grade classes at USV Middle School. The school is located in Alger, Ohio, about 25 miles southwest of Findlay. Alger was founded in 1896 and has a population of 1,100.
When we hear on the news about missing children, escaped criminals, or drug searches, we know the police are taking care of things. What many people don't know is that the Hardin County Sheriff's Department is helped out on their searches by their own canine corps. Dave Dyer and his assistant Mike Zimmerman showed News 6 just how much their dogs helped out.
Illegal drugs are a problem in this country, but the Canine Corps, headed by Dave Dyer and George Smith, are part of the movement to take a bite out of the crime.
What kinds of training do the dogs go through?
The kind of training that's involved with the dog is obedience. That's with voice and hand commands. He's trained in personal protection of the officer, protects the cruiser. He's trained to search buildings, look for lost people and lost articles. The commands given to the dog are 5 basic obedience commands. There's a sit command, a down, a heel, a come, and a stay. All this training are based off of those commands. And these commands can be given verbally or by hand signals.
How does this dog apprehend a criminal?
The dog will apprehend a criminal either by the command of the handler that the officer determines if the man is to be apprehended, or if the man attacks the officer, the dog will apprehend him on his own without any command.
How is it safe to have this dog around children?
The dog is trained to know the difference between social behavior, which means somebody comes up and shakes your hand, then somebody comes up and hits you. He lives with the officer and his family. He is also trained around people so that he will interact with people in a normal manner. But when somebody acts abnormal, he becomes very aggressive.
Sometimes the movies give us the wrong impression of the martial arts. They make us think that they're all fighting without any control. New 6 learned that Taekwondo is a kind of martial art that stretches lots of control and discipline. The demonstrations you're about to see show that, and also show trained students performing the demonstrations. Don't try to do what they're doing unless you are trained in martial arts by an instructor.
Practicing Taekwondo takes a lot of skill and discipline. We were shown by Jeff Watts and his students just what it takes to master this ancient art.
How does a person train in Taekwondo?
Okay, to train for Taekwondo, you would come into an instructor who is trained in the martial arts or the Taekwondo, and they will take you through basic stretching exercises to loosen up the body and to loosen up the muscles to get you ready for the training that you'll need. You will learn flexibility, then you will work on blocking, punching techniques, kicking. You'll learn self-defense techniques. You'll learn all things like that that will help you to help coordinate yourself and help you to learn a lot.
What are Taekwondo forms?
With a form, what you're actually doing is you're considering that you are in a actual combat with one or multiple attackers. And you will go through set steps of blocking and kicking and defending yourself throughout the form. If you actually practice the full blows on a person, okay, you would either disable them or possibly kill them with the techniques. So to practice the actual power in a kick or a power in a punch, what you do is you practice on inanimate objects. You work on boards, blocks. You use something that will break, that you can actually show your power with, and not something that you would use on another student.
What is free sparring?
Free sparring is a student actually taking the techniques, the blocking, the punching, and the kicking that he has learned and work out against another student using not full power but partial power on their techniques. Taekwondo teaches a student many things. It teaches them self-discipline, self-respect, teaches respect for others. It also teaches on the physical side, physical coordination. It gives the students something to do with their mind and their body together. Okay.
That's all for this week's show. Join us next week when News 6 travels to Ayersville, Ohio.
Production support for award-winning News 6 has come from the Northwest Ohio Educational Technology Foundation and this public television station.